Mike the Warhost here, and today we are continuing our Mythos faction coverage by talking about the Odani Travelers. The Odani Travelers are a group of nomadic entertainers traveling from town to town across America, seeking to entertain the masses with fortune-telling, feats of strength, and other diversions for a small fee. At least that's how it appears on the surface. In truth, the Odani Travelers use their knowledge of the fates to protect themselves and eventually ensure their survival when humanity's ruin comes calling. Using their arcane powers to peer into the future and eliminate threats before they appear, the Odani Travelers are masters of guile and misdirection. If you want to learn more about the lore of the Odani Travelers, you can find a brief overview currently available on the Mythos website. A link will be in the description below. The Odani Travelers faction box contains the following models, adding up to 100 points and providing 11 myth points: Max Calderas, Talia Calderas, Vita Calderas, Stefan Calderas, Amran, Pali, and Taka. Max Calderas is the faction's leader and will get an additional action point when he is activated. His cudgel attack has the chance to apply paralyzed, and his commanding voice myth ability will let him spend an additional action point to allow another model to immediately take one action. Bullying Swagger gives him a +1 bonus to combat attacks, and Charmed lets him roll 3d6 for arcane defense and discard the lowest die. His altered side is a bit less effective in combat. Commanding voice is replaced with Give Orders, which will grant vigor to a nearby model, and Old Injury prevents Max from making charge actions. Charmed is replaced with Protected, which does the exact same thing. Talia Calderas is your primary caster for the faction. Her Shriveling attack has a 10-inch range and can cause fatigue. Hand of Fate is an interesting myth ability that gives you a second chance at succeeding at a particular roll. When using it, roll 3d6 and set them aside. You can then use these fate dice to swap out for any dice rolled for any check. This can be incredibly useful when Talia is edging closer to her madness threshold. Gift of Foresight forces anyone attacking Talia with a combat or ranged attack to re-roll their highest die, giving her an additional chance at surviving. Her altered side is very close to her ready side. The attack rating for Shriveling increases to 9, her arcane defense increases to 9, but her combat defense goes down to 5. She keeps Hand of Fate, but loses Gift of Foresight. Instead, she gains Visions of Death, giving enemy models a +1 bonus to combat attacks against her. Vita Calderas is one of the few Odani models with a ranged attack. Her throwing knives have a 6-inch range and can apply bleed, much like her regular knife attack. Glimpse of Fate functions similar to Hand of Fate, but using only 1d6 instead of 3. Backflip lets her immediately move 3 inches in any direction when targeted by a ranged attack, hopefully taking her out of range. Her altered side is largely the same as her ready side. The attack ratings for her abilities get switched, making the melee attack stronger, and she gains Paranoid, giving her a -1 penalty if she is more than 5 inches away from another friendly model. Keep this in mind when using Backflip to get Vita to safety, as it could end up causing more problems if your opponent plays his cards right. Stefan Calderas is an incredibly tanky brute. His post-maul has the potential to apply paralyzed, and his smash myth ability will let him push enemy models back, potentially removing any aura benefits from other enemy models. Tough as Nails reduces all non-conditioned damage taken by 1, letting him take more hits than most. His altered side sacrifices some defense for a stronger offense. His combat defense and arcane defense drop. His post-maul attack rating increases by 1, and Smash is replaced with Unbridled Rage, giving him a +1 bonus to all combat attacks made that activation. Tough as Nails still applies though. Amran is the faction's big beastie, even if he's not all that large. He's also your other source of arcane and ranged attacks. Smoky Tendrils has a 12-inch range and can apply fatigue, and his handgun has a 10-inch range and can apply bleed. Its myth ability Puppetry lets Amran fire his handgun for no action points for an additional chance to apply bleed. Abomination means Amran causes fear, and madness points are gained by the attacker regardless of the results of a fear test. When flipped to altered, not much changes. All of Amran's defense stats decrease by 1, as does the attack rating on Smoky Tendrils. Everything else stays the same. And to round things out, we have Pali and Taka, the two demon clown creatures. Their stats and abilities are identical, so we can simply smash them together here. They both come with claws that can apply blind, and a sprint myth ability giving them a +2 bonus to move and charge actions at activation. Bloodlust lets them immediately make a charge action when they destroy an enemy model, giving you the potential for all sorts of shenanigans with larger model count factions. Like the rest of the faction, not a great deal changes when flipped to altered. Their charge stat increases by 1, and their combat defense increases by 2, making them harder to hit. Sprint and Bloodlust still remain, however. The key to success with the Odani Travelers will be mastering their use of tricksy abilities. Keep Talia and Vita below their madness threshold as long as possible, so they can remain effective. Use Max's commanding voice for additional attacks, and use Amran's puppetry ability to apply bleed as often as possible. If you can force enemy models to bunch up a bit, send Polly and Taka in to finish off weakened models quickly and move on to the next. Sending the Demon Clowns in to ping-pong off of enemy units with commanding voice would be a great way to throw your opponent's plans into chaos. Well, that's going to do it for me today. Stay tuned for more Wild West Exodus, Mythos, Fog and Friction, and Dystopian Wars content in the near future, as well as some looks at Lost World Exodus in the not-so-near future. Maybe. At some point. Please? Alright, take care everyone.